Do you know I was looking at Star Wars stuff, and then my wife points to something and she says, "What's that round thing?" And I'm like, "It's the Death Star." and then this is a true story. And then she points to something else. She says, "What's that big bear?"
Could be an Ewok, could be Chewbacca. I'm going with Chewbacca.
It was Chewbacca.
Of course.
And she's like, "Oh, right. Why is he so ugly?" It's a true story, man. Obviously, my wife, not much of a nerd.
But she loves Star Trek, though.
She does.
That's her jam.
That's definitely her jam.
That's her jam.
So, like, EA has decided to, once again, put their hat in the ring when it comes to the Star Wars license. It might be their swan song, given that their exclusive agreement with Disney is up for negotiation, so maybe they're trying to like lock it down. Either way, this new Star Wars game, I'm excited for it.
I'm excited. Let's
to
get
be
to
honest,
the drop.
let's do the drop and let's talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Boom. Okay, so single player experience now is all the rage. I remember EA once upon a time saying single player is dead, and how right they were. Okay, Jedi Fallen Order was a huge success for them. That came out last year.
Yep.
Last year, end of last year. I finished that thing in one day. I sat there from 9 o'clock to 4 a.m. and smashed it out, and I have a very short attention span.
I can confirm that.
Must be a pretty damn good game.
That's true.
Right?
So very often I will talk and then I will say something, and then the very next sentence, Sam will say what I just said because he wasn't paying attention to it.
Exactly. Sometimes Ralph, I'll say the exact same thing that Ralph will say.
Exactly.
Nice.
But yeah, to be clear, Star Wars Squadron is the new game that was recently announced by EA. It's been long rumored, it has been leaked a few weeks ago. It's just been revealed officially with a cinematic trailer only. And the big surprise is that it is a single player focused game that also has multiplayer modes as well, okay? The thing about that though is you think, well, obviously they're gonna stuff it full of microtransactions. That's why EA makes multiplayer games. The very first thing that came out after the trailer was released was that this is a multiplayer game, or it has multiplayer components, that will not have any microtransactions in it whatsoever.
Which is huge. I mean, we have seen the biggest 180 I've ever seen in gaming in terms of, let's bring out the most broken Star Wars game I've ever seen.
It was not broken. It was a great game.
No, monetization-wise.
Yes.
Pay to win, broken, evil casino Star Wars game, and the next game they bring out is completely single player, no microtransactions, and an extremely good game. So from Star Wars Battlefront 2 to Jedi Fallen Order, there was a gigantic shift.
Sure.
And now we're actually seeing that continue.
I think, just to be clear though, there was a journey in between that was the redemption of Star Wars Battlefront 2, where that game went on to basically add a huge amount of new content, and continue to build on the solid platform that it already had in a way that wasn't scamming people in microtransactions.
Sure.
All of their updates were free and whatever else. So I don't want to skip over that either, because, the Star Wars Battlefront 2 community is actually pretty passionate about that game now, and it wasn't just like Jedi Fallen Order was the first good thing that EA has done with Star Wars since, all the bullshit with
100%.
the Casino Royale that was Battlefront 2.
Exactly, but look, why don't we actually just name all the actual features that we are expecting in this game, then we'll talk about why I think this is pretty cool.
I actually think it's a big deal.
So you can play as both the Rebels, the Rebel Scum, and also the Empire, okay? So you can see both sides. It's also going to be taking place just after the Return of the Jedi. So interesting to see. Have we seen a game that actually took place after that? No, this is the first one, right?
I don't really know. There's been so much stuff and books and I don't know, whatever.
There's heaps of stuff
Basically,
out there.
it's set before everything goes to shit with Disney.
Yes.
Okay, that's it. We're still in the before times when Star Wars was good, as opposed to the after times where it became a completely trashy meme.
And then, of course, next is multiplayer mode. Now, there's going to be fleet mode, which is going to be like, a bunch of you trying to take down some gigantic ship. We've seen it before in Rogue Squadron. We all love doing it. And then dogfight is going to be a bit more like one-on-one fighting and all this kind of stuff within the clouds of Bespin, of course.
Nice, with that great music and everything.
Amazing. And also in the stars. Yes, the stars.
Nice. Would you say there's wars going on in those stars?
I feel like there's some sort of wars going on, galactic wars.
Nice.
In a galaxy far, far away, though, so it's fine. Guys.
But this is a arcade dogfighter. It's not like a space sim or whatever. It's not trying to be realistic. It's meant to be very arcadey action. So yes, those touch points of like Rogue Squadron are very natural and whatever else.
We're also going to see hottest support, which I don't know what hottest was until I found out tonight. I just thought I was hot as. Oh, nice cringe. That's nice cringe right there.
Basically, it's the stick and the throttle, okay? It means it's going to have that, which is great. And it's also going to have, this is a really big deal, by the way, it's going to have full VR support for both PC and PS4. That's a big deal. Like, that's a very
launch,
big deal.
we should say too. At launch.
Actually, I'm not sure about the at launch part. I know it's definitely going to have it. I'm not sure if it might come in a patch later on.
Did I say launch? I meant maybe at launch.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't just ignore what's written there, Sam. That's fine. It's either going to have it at launch or soon after that. And that's a really big deal. VR is lacking these sort of really kind of mainstream titles. Obviously, there was Half-Life Alyx and one or two others, but for the large part, VR is quite separate and quite fringe. Ace Combat had a VR mode, but it was only like 2 or 3 missions.
Yeah.
So if this entire game is playable in VR, that's a big thing. That's going to attract a lot of people to VR.
And if that's the way that it starts becoming more and more part of the mainstream, where big AAA titles just have a section of their game that's VR, then maybe that's just what we need to get more used to
This
VR.
isn't sections, this is the whole game.
No, okay, fine. But I'm talking about Ace Combat. There's a few missions here and there, that kind of stuff, right? So if we're getting to the point now that it's integrated more and more into AAA games, that is a good thing. And also, crossplay, baby. Crossplay is actually coming across all platforms with this, so pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be PS4, Xbox, and PC, all crossplay. Plus, that actually also includes VR. So, like, if you're playing, you can be on a PC playing with a controller, and then someone else is playing VR, and I'm not sure if that means an advantage, because they're going to be able to like look around and see you, but they'll also be kind of like throwing up while they're doing it, from VR motion sickness.
But like, with like Gran Turismo and stuff, you've got to always press a button and look back and shit. So I'm sure there's something like that too. But look, I think the biggest thing is it's going to be $40 US. That's pretty good for what you're getting with all a single player experience, no microtransactions, crossplay,
multiplayer modes, VR support,
and hottest or whatever. Like people that love that, right? It's all in there. So that is a pretty good offering. And this brings me to, why are they doing this? I really feel like they've had a huge win with Jedi Fallen Order, and they're on kind of a high right now, and they want to preserve EA good in the Star Wars department. And secondly, I'm sure Bob Iger is like breathing down EA's neck going, are we going to renew this contract with you?
Uncle Bob's out the door though soon. I think he's transitioning out. There's a new bloke.
And maybe that's another thing, a lot of CEOs or people in general, when they walk in and they take over, they want to shake things up, you know?
Sure.
And then maybe, I'm sure they just don't want to leave any stone unturned of presenting the good argument that everyone's loving what we're doing with Star Wars.
I think it's a good point, because this, to be fair, like, and first of all, like, we have to take all hype with like massive buckets of salt.
Sure.
Like, there's every chance this game comes out, it's boring, undercooked, broken, whatever else. That's how video games are.
But we have a track record now with Jedi Fallen Order to say, you know what?
Yeah, but there's a separate studio, or the respawn's very different to Motive and whatever. So we're not saying this is going to be good, but I am absolutely saying that this is ambitious, for sure. This list of features that they've got here from a major publisher, fairly okay, like studio, very established studio, charging $40 US with no microtransactions, even though it has multiplayer modes. There's a lot in this package, you know what I mean? And so I'm feeling like this is very unique. No other publisher makes games like this, especially not with a franchise as big as Star Wars. I really am surprised that EA is doing this, and I think you're right to question their motives, no pun intended, because it's just so out of character. It's out of character for EA, it's out of character for AAA video games. It's just generally weird that there's so much being offered here for $40.
We have to also take into account that maybe based on how much work that DICE did on Star Wars Battlefront 2, there's the ability to reuse assets.
For sure.
It might have really made this process a lot quicker. And in that time, they've been able to go, okay, cool, how do we give this a more of an edge?
Because the space fighting in that game was astoundingly good. Like,
I didn't like the mechanics of it, but like, I hated the driving.
Oh, I loved
hated the flying.
I loved the flying.
But I mean,
so good.
a lot of the groundwork is already there for this studio to come in and go, cool. I'm guessing they're using the same engine. I think EA.
I'm assuming it would be. It would be silly if they didn't.
Yeah. What was it called again? Frostbite. Yeah, Frostbite 2. Anyway. I'm sure they're using similar, if not the same engines. So a lot of the work would be kind of done in inverted commas. So it does give them all this time to maybe add to this. And this is what it seems like they've done.
I really hope this is successful. This comes out on October 2nd on, as I said, PC, PS4, Xbox. It's going to have VR support. You know, we're going to see gameplay probably tomorrow, actually, as part of the EA Play show, which we are streaming here on Laymen.
Check it out,
live, 9 a.m. Sydney time, so long as I don't get the time wrong again. We'll double check that. Tune in for that, but we're going to see more gameplay then. I genuinely hope this is successful. This is breaking all the rules that EA established at the midpoint of this generation. The entire video game industry was following EA's lead with regards to monetization of their games. The entire industry was doing that. This is now going in a completely different direction. Jedi Fallen Order obviously was that. This seems like an even further step away than what Jedi Fallen Order was doing.
Sure.
And I really welcome EA doing this, and I hope this product delivers.
I feel like this is a very, before we finish, this is a very smart marketing strategy for EA. Because they get to, you know, wave the flag of one of their biggest franchises, of course, is Star Wars. Look at how great the games are, look at how pro-consumer we are. And then they get to continue to do what they love doing to the casual, to the FIFA, to all these people. So in EA's eye, I don't think they're losing any money. They're just like hedging their bets against the hardcore community and looking like they're doing the good thing.
Good guy EA.
While selling Ultimate Team still to the casual dudes.
No, I agree with that.
Because they tried that and it didn't work, so
Yeah.
they don't have any other choice to do this.
I feel like there's a split in their business now between the sports stuff, which is like, let's rip people off as much as possible with garbage, and the core gaming stuff, where it's like, core gamers will not stand for this bullshit, so let's just try and make some good games and hope they sell. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, feels like that. So we'll see. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. The reveal for the gameplay will be tomorrow, live here on Laymen, 9 a.m. Sydney time. Don't miss it. We love you guys. And
Will we get demonetized again? We'll see.
Probably.
Goodbye.